Afternoon, Nigel.
How are we doing? You okay?
Yeah, good, thank you. Hope you're all well.
Yeah,
as well.
fine.
Let's start off then with this morning's news, a contract extension for Pring. Good news for the club, good news for the player, of course.
Yeah, I mean he's a player who's returned from numerous loans elsewhere, and he's earned himself a new contract. So we're glad to have him. He's coming on very nicely actually. Yeah.
Yeah. How have you seen him improve this season with more games that he plays?
Well, I didn't really see him at all last year, so it's just about being able to assess one of our players who's so far had loans at various places. So I suppose he's got to make the adjustments to the Championship like a number of our players have to. But he's coming on really coming on well. He's versatile. So he's played as a winger for us. He's played as a left back, left side centre back. He's just quite a versatile player to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And another one of your youngsters that's a key player for you is Massengo. I mean, is he a player that you'd like to tie down to a longer term deal?
Well, I think you've probably read that we've been in negotiations with his representatives, but Hanno seems very settled here. He's got a way to go yet in terms of developing his game, but he's a player who we think a lot about. So he's somebody that we'd like to secure a longer deal with. Yeah.
FA Cup, of course, this weekend. How special is this competition to you on a personal level?
Oh, well, I'm a manager now, so I don't really talk about things like that. I'm not a romantic. I mean, I'm lucky enough to have played in a FA Cup final, but unfortunately we're beaten in it. But it's a cup competition with a lot of tradition. I think the domestic cups have somewhat lost their sheen in recent years because of some clubs not really taking it seriously. I mean, look, the league's always going to be our priority. There's no, I can't dress it up any other way. But of course, it's an opportunity to get away from the relentless hustle and bustle of the Championship. It's a chance for us maybe to try different players out. It's a game we want to win, of course. It'll be a tough game against opponents who've not played for a couple of weeks or so because of postponement. So I think they'll go pretty strong themselves. It's just the next game that we play. It's one that we'd like to make progress in the cup competition. But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, would you expect it to be a similar sort of game to the season or the game earlier in the season against Fulham?
Well, I mean, I think we played pretty well in that game. I don't know whether it would be the same, but we know they're a really good side. But the way that we've trained this week so far, I've been very pleased with. So the players seem in a decent place actually at the moment. So I'm expecting another positive performance from us, because I think it's important to build on recent performances where we actually played pretty well. So yeah, that's the plan to get through to the next round. But it'll be a tough game because they're quite an accomplished side. I mean, when we played earlier in the season, you could tell that they're a team that's have recently been in the Premier League.
Yeah, and it's a rare occasion of back-to-back games against them as well, isn't it? Does that change anything at all in terms of approach for a game when you've got to play the same team 2 weeks running?
Probably more so for our fans, I would suggest. But no, I don't think all I'm doing is thinking about this game. So if I had to choose winning one of them, though, it would definitely be the league game.
Yeah.
I mean, that gives you the context of how important the league is.
Absolutely, yeah. And it is January, so apologies for this question, but are you expecting any incomings or outgoings in the near future?
Well, if I was, I wouldn't be telling you because you'll find out if things happen. It's as simple as that. There's no point answering you in a different way. You'll find out when something happens, not before.
Yeah. Okay, Nigel. Thanks very much for your
My
time.
pleasure.
Good luck for the
All right.
weekend.
Yeah. Thank you. Cheers. Bye.
Afternoon, Nigel. We've seen Tyree sign new terms, Cam's now obviously signing terms. You talked about Han Noah. I'm just wondering, how much of a role do you play in sort of contract?
Contract? None. Nothing to do with me. No.
So you don't.
My relationship with players needs to be based on football, not finances. So that's the role. That's Richard's. That's where Richard deals with that. I don't talk with agents at all, and never have done. Which is why I enjoy working with, sporting directors or a CEO who works like that. I think I've always been very clear on this that the relationship I like to have with players is based purely on what we do, and that is work, and not everything else is. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I am aware of situations, and sometimes there will be occasions that I have conversations with. If an agent is introduced or a new agent comes in with the player, then I might just pop my head in and say hello. But for the most part, no, I'm not really interested in that side of the game.
As you mentioned it there, so that's all been throughout your management career. You've adopted.
Yeah, I've never dealt with agents. No.
Yeah,
which is why head of recruitment's important. I mean, look, it depends on the club. But no, I've never talked finances with agents, and the agents know that, so they don't bother trying to contact me. So, which is how it should be. It should be. It should work like that. A manager should have a relationship with his players based on football.
On Han Noah, from a football perspective,
yeah.
How impressed were you with his performance in the second half against Millwall?
Yeah, I mean, he came on and gave us what we needed, and I think one of the things that strikes me about Han Noah in particular is how he wants to improve his own game. He knows he's not been in the best form. He's aware. He has an awareness that he's. I'm always wary of talking young players up too much, and I am aware that there is that sometimes Han Noah has a maybe too much expectation on him, but he's a really grounded young man. He has a humility which is I think admirable for somebody of such young years, really. But no, he's an important player, or he's an important member of our squad. But he did okay when he went on.
Yeah, I mean, what stood out was almost how sort of much responsibility he took on in possession, which I guess can be hard to do as a substitute.
Yeah, I would say that again, I might have a different view to you on that, but he does catch the eye, but it's hard not to when you've got a hairstyle like that. I think it gives you a lot of energy. He's a committed player, and we're really delighted I'm really delighted for him that he had a positive contribution when he went on, and I think that's. I'm reluctant to over-egg it, if I'm honest, because what we needed when we played Millwall in the second half was to take the game by the scruff of the neck, and we did that collectively, and he was a part of that. So he played an important role in the second half, as did all the players, because we needed to have a shift from where we were in the first half, where we we let a few self-doubts re-emerge.
On Saturday, and you mentioned about the potential team that we put out. Is this first team fringe players and young players, or will there be some?
We haven't got come on. We haven't got that big a squad, have we? So it's going to be the same group of players.
Well, that was
it's going to be the same group of players. There might be one or two changes, but it's not going to change vastly. You know, it'll be we have a. I think what's important is when you try and operate with a smaller squad, it means that players are always pretty close to the team, and you know yourself that we've had spells in the season so far where we've had players. So, for instance, when we had the situation where Joe Williams, Matty James, Andy King weren't available in midfield, you know, it shows you how small a squad we have. Not that we were exposed, but it put a lot of emphasis on our younger players to sort of hold the fort, if you like. And you know, at the moment we've got decent availability of our squad. George Tanner will be out for a couple of months, just to give you an update on him. So now we've got he won't be needing an operation, but he'll be out for a while because it's a second time he's done it. So we'll need to be careful with that. And I think that really, as much as anything, is an illustration of how stepping up through people's perceptions of what it's like to step up from lower divisions into the Championship. The physical demands are so much greater, and he's been at full stretch. So it's unfortunate for him and us, but we'll get by.
One of those players around the first team has been involved a lot in the last couple of months. Casey Palmer.
Yeah.
Can we expect to see him involved on Saturday?
Yeah, possibly. That's as close to a yes as you're going to get, but possibly. Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah, good.
And could you clarify his position at the club? Because obviously there's.
Well, as I said a few weeks ago, he's one of our players. And look, just to clarify what this window looks like. The only business we'll do if it suits us and it's affordable and we can do it. You know, I don't envisage us doing business which helps other teams. I'm not bothered about that. And so Casey's one of our players, and until something else happens, then it's what it is. I'm not going to be, I'm not going to over elaborate on that. All I'm going to say is that the strategy remains the same. We'll strengthen if we can, and if we can't strengthen, we'll run with what we've got. But it would be beneficial to add a player. Yeah, of course it would.
What's been your? I know it's only 6 days into, but you said early in summer you had a feel of what the window might look like. What's your kind of take on it?
Well, okay, so it appears at the moment. I thought the summer window last year was very, very quiet, and understandably, because every football club had been without. Certainly in the EFL, if you're not a Championship side coming down from the Premier League, where the finances are still you get quite a bit of support. Our cash flow, as every other club, was zero almost, wasn't it? So it was a very cagey window, let's say, because I don't think anybody knew what it was going to look like. This one, I think there are early signs that a few clubs might spend some money, but everybody's aware who is involved with Bristol City of the figures that we've announced, and we can't. I'm not prepared, and it's a part of my job to I'm employed by the football club. It's about having the best interests of our club first and foremost, and so what we have to do is make sure that any business that we do is affordable for us. we're topped out on on if you look at the figures, 38.4 is not a good figure for us, and so we have to cut our cloth accordingly, and we will do that, and we'll make sure that first and foremost we can function as a football club. I've never been one to moan about either not having money to spend, or I can't even think what the largest amount I've ever spent on a player, but it's not fortunes. It's more important for us at the moment to recognise where we are, what we can do, and certainly what we can't do. So I know over the next few weeks you will be asking me the same question, and unless something's actually happened, or I can give you an update which is realistic, it's going to be a similar sort of a chat. But I'll try and be as open as I can. But as far as I'm concerned, there's not going to be a lot happening.
Okay. Last one from me, Nigel.
Yeah, sure.
You touched on a head of recruitment there, which you've worked under previously, specifically at Leicester being the sort of standout one, I guess, given the success.
But Steve there was my assistant manager and head of recruitment. So I'm very, very careful not to try and paint a picture that, I've worked in so many different, if you like, configurations of what clubs look like, and I am portrayed as being somebody who's very rigid in my thinking, but actually I've worked for so many different clubs in different formats, and I can work in any sort of format really. The bottom line is there's got to be clarity of who does what, who's responsible for what, and responsibility also carries a weight of accountability. And as long as that's clear, I don't really mind. So I took this job on knowing exactly where we were and how difficult a job it was going to be. Is that when we do get it right, it will be a very rewarding situation. So one of the things that we have to do in the short term is to stabilise our situation as a football club, make sure that we have a positive second half to the season. So whether that's with new players or not, we'll see.
Good stuff. Thanks for your time, Nigel.
Okay, no problem.
Hi Nigel, I just wanted to ask, Sam Bell has returned to the club
Yeah, he has.
And Louis Britton as well. Are they players that could be in contention for Saturday? Of course, both being on loan and haven't played in the FA Cup for their respective loan clubs.
Well, Sam's trained with us this morning, and Louis trained with the under-23s, so they're about the place. It will be, they could be on the bench, you never know.
And just as well with the game on the weekend, is it a case of perhaps some fringe players might get a look into Kiddy, or perhaps a refin?
I think I've already made that clear. That fringe players who are they? We've got our squad, and our squad is what it is. You can use 9 subs. Well, we might have about 4 keepers on there then, eh? Who knows? No, I'm being facetious. We will, if it's an opportunity to have a look at somebody off the bench, that's another thing. But I'm taking the game seriously, so it's not what I was talking about earlier, that the domestic cups for a period of time I think lost their sparkle, if you like, because some of the bigger clubs were not fielding their strongest sides. I think that's readjusted, by the way. I think that certainly Leicester winning the FA Cup for the first time last season, it's an opportunity to win silverware. So cup games have played a big part in my career as a player. I always enjoyed them. I always You know, as a player, I don't think players think about it as being a distraction, or it's just the next game. And I think it's important to try and recognise just exactly what it is. It's a chance for us to win a home game and get in the next round, and that's what we want to try and do. Recognising it will be a tough game, but so what? There will be changes from the last starting 11, and those players who will be playing will have an opportunity to stake their claim, and that's really what it's about.
And then you of course said you'd rather win in the league if you're going to play.
If we had to choose one, but if we can win them both, great, happy days.
Just with that as well, though, and it kind of feels like a season of transition for Bristol City, and of course you want to finish as high in the league, but would perhaps a cup run perhaps be a good substitute perhaps for the fans?
No idea. You'll have to ask the fans that. I look at every game as being it's the next game that we're playing. So outside of that, you're not going to get any cliches from me in regard to giving you a strap line to use. It's not happening. Apart from Grumpy Bugger. Okay, jolly good. Gregor, you've been very quiet. Not like you.
Hiya Nigel, yeah, back again I'm afraid.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. Here we go. Come on.
Just two quick questions.
Yeah, sure.
Just picking up on what James said there, because I think he asked all the good stuff. Just to clarify.
Go on, say that again.
Just to clarify, you don't have a head of recruitment there at the moment, do you?
We have yeah, we do.
Sean,
Yeah, we do.
Sean, haven't you? But he's technical head of recruitment. There haven't been any changes, has there?
No, but it's we have a good department. Yeah.
Just checking. And then just secondly, on Rob Atkinson, obviously he was on the bench at the weekend.
Yeah.
While he started ahead of him.
Yeah.
While you're coming back, how would you describe where Rob is at the moment? I just wondered, because obviously the fans don't always see the full picture. I think you said previously he had an illness. Do you think he's 100% in terms of confidence and fitness at the moment, or is it just ups and downs because it is his first championship season?
Well, you've just answered your own question, basically. It's probably a bit of everything. So he's not really recovered fully, it appears. And when players make, and if you look at his career path as well, from where he started and where he's accrued his appearances, he's made some big steps in a short period of time. And so my expectation sometimes of players is probably a bit more realistic but hey, he's going to have to tough it out, I'm afraid. So I would imagine Riley getting picked ahead of him, if I was him, I would have been a bit unhappy with that, but tough.
Fair enough, good luck for the weekend.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Anything else? No?
Cheers, Nigel.
See you, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.